Hello and welcome to Become the Teapot. I'm Ian.
And so am I.
And as giant-sized January comes to a close, so too does X-Month. This week, we're watching 2006's X-Men, The Last Stand. As a companion piece to this film, we're going to be reading the seminal Dark Phoenix Saga, which ran in the pages of Uncanny X-Men 129 to 137 in 1980. So Ian, X-Men The Last Stand, what are your thoughts?
I'll tell you this now. I did not enjoy this film.
Oh, okay.
I think we've hit my peak of older style films that I don't like.
Yeah, you finally found your level, because in a previous episode you did say you liked this one.
Yeah, I think...
Is that going back and rewatching it?
I think so. If I hadn't gone back to watch it, I think the memory of it I enjoyed. But then watching it last night, I was thinking this is a mess. It's an actual shit show.
Yeah, I mean, I had that impression very much the first time I watched it in the cinemas. Between this and X-Men Origins Wolverine, it nearly killed the franchise, didn't it?
Oh, yeah.
So what is it about it in particular that you find messy?
I mean, I think it's a collection of the writing, the characters, the plots that are sort of chucked together. I reckon they just had like a wall and they were just throwing stuff there and seeing what stuck. They're like, shall we have a cure for the mutants? Yeah, right. Shall we do the Dark Phoenix Saga? Yeah, right. Anything else we can throw in here? Oh, yeah, Scott dies. Yeah, all right. Oh, Charles, yeah, he dies as well.
Yeah. I mean, obviously they had to pick up on the Dark Phoenix storyline, but clearly they didn't want to.
Yeah.
You know, they left that as a dangling plot thread from the last film, and they had no intention of really using that to its full potential. They really wanted to do a story about Magneto and the cure. Mm-hmm. Again, had to be Magneto.
Oh, yeah, of course.
So moving on to other things we don't like. Juggernaut, what do you think of him?
Well, we all know who he is. He's the Juggernaut,
Vinnie Jones.
bitch.
Oh, I see.
Oh, right. I'm Vinnie Jones, bitch.
I'm Vinnie Jones. Give us that shooter. He's certainly not Charles's stepbrother, so there's no history there with the character. Nope. He is just a big angry man who runs into things and spouts memes from a YouTube video.
He's not even that big. He's just tall and they just got a weird concrete head.
Yeah, that weird concrete barnet. And then they've given him weird fake muscle suit as well with those leather straps around it. And all he was there to do was shout, as I say, memes from a YouTube video from back in the day that was famous. And they didn't think at any point, do you reckon this might date? No. This video is eternal. I'm the Juggernaut bitch memes is going to be on for the rest of time.
There's a bit right towards the end in that big fight scene. He runs towards some people, maybe sort of 5 to 10, I didn't really count. And then when he pushes them over, they add the effect of bowling pins falling down.
Yeah, I did notice that.
Why? I mean, I know these films have got a history of unusual sound effects, as we've sort of covered, but no, sorry, that's not... No.
Yeah, it's a moment of considering what's going on around him. It's a moment of levity that is strange in that context. I think it's just after Magneto says, go and kill a child, and then they put in a weird bowling pin sound effect. It's like, okay. Let's speak about Dark Phoenix for a bit, because obviously that is the comic book we're talking about today. We should probably cover that.
Okay.
Throughout the comic book, Jean Grey is referred to as Fire and Life Incarnate. She is referred to as Power Incarnate, and also several times as a god, including one of the front covers, Witness the Birth of a God. So my question for you is, did you ever feel in this film or the other Dark Phoenix film, did she ever feel like a god to you?
No.
Did she feel significantly more powerful than all the other mutants to you?
I mean, yeah, I guess. She did seem very powerful as a mutant, but I wouldn't say that she's up there with Thor and all those proper gods.
Yeah. I mean, in actual fact, she should be above that, you know, in the comic book terms. She is this sort of almost abstract entity, this being able to wipe out an entire star system on a whim because she's hungry.
Yeah, in the comics, she's very much compared to Galactus. In the films, it's just, oh, she's a level 5 powered person.
Yeah, I like how they refer to it as levels 1 to 5 as well. Like, it's just like middle management. Whereas in the comics, you have this whole idea of, you know, Omega level mutants and things like that. But obviously, Phoenix herself is even beyond that. She is, as I say, Power Incarnate. So that is what I wanted to check, is if to you, as someone who hadn't read this before seeing the film, this character who is meant to be significantly more powerful and dangerous than all those around her seemed like it in the films. Because to me, well, she couldn't even destroy Alcatraz.
Yeah.
I know you could say she was holding back from killing Wolverine, but she couldn't even kill Wolverine. So it just seemed like she was very undersold.
Yeah, she seemed like she had all this power, and just the points when she could have used it, she didn't. So to answer your question, no, and the film sucks. So we spoke about the comics and we spoke about the film. This week, I actually have a cheeky little Easter egg that incorporates them both.
Oh, okay then. Well, that seems like the perfect time to move on to Ian's Egg Hunt. Ian's Egg Hunt. Ian's Egg Hunt.
I'm not yoking you. So there is a nice little Easter egg that I wouldn't have picked up if I hadn't have read the comics.
Okay.
In particular, issue 132. There's a panel in there which is very similar to the film when Jean takes off Scott's sunglasses and or visor and actually is able to control or hold back his optic blast.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, I wouldn't have seen that if I'd not read the comics. So
Yeah, it's a direct parallel of that scene from the comic books, isn't it? It's about the only thing that did transition.
pretty much, yeah.
And she didn't kill him immediately afterwards.
No. This one you did touch on actually earlier on in the Danger Room scene, and also towards the end of the film. Colossus does throw Wolverine, as they call it, the fastball special.
Yes.
But I did like how in issue 137, Wolverine throws Colossus, because obviously they're on the moon and the gravity is not the same.
Yes.
And I recently read X-Men Black Mojo. If I hadn't have read that, then I probably wouldn't have picked up on this either.
Ooh.
We both know there is a full collection of characters in this film, in the background and all sorts. But one of the ones that I saw at the end battle was a guy called Glob.
Glob Herman.
Glob Herman.
Yes, I think I saw him as well.
Yeah, so he's one of the first ones to be shot by the Cure when they're sending out all the pawns first.
Yeah.
But again, yeah, I wouldn't have spotted that unless I'd picked up that particular comic.
So are you saying that reading comics is giving you a greater appreciation of some of these films?
Not this film.
That's fair.
But yeah.
That character's got nothing to do with Glob Herman anyway.
No.
So.
I mean, reading comics has inspired me to look for more eggs.
And really, that's the end goal in life, isn't it?
Finally, I cannot talk about the Easter eggs without giving our main man, Stan Lee, a shout out.
Yep.
He's literally right at the start of the film. Jean's picking up all the cars, and then the water out of his hose just goes up as well.
Yeah.
Not too sure why.
Telekinesis.
Why is it just the water and not the hose?
I don't know. I don't think anyone knows. I don't think the writers and director know.
But also, in that same scene, our mate Chris has a cameo.
Oh, does he?
Chris Claremont.
Yeah.
I think it's just before the Stan Lee bit, but he's outside cutting his grass.
Oh, that's good. That's good. I like little cameos of the artists and the writers. It's nice that some of the others are getting that recognition as well.
Yeah, so Chris Claremont is known as the Lawn Mower Man, and Stan Lee is known as the Water Hose Man. That is their names in the credits.
Amazing.
I am surprised that those two haven't become like superheroes.
Well, Lawnmower Man was a film, but I don't think it was a superhero film.